back to Post Time. Did you know that this month marks the 50th anniversary of the world record time trial set by Adios Butler in 1:54.3 down in Lexington, Kentucky at the Red Mile? Let's get a little history lesson about this champion, who also happened to be the very first winner of the pacing Triple Crown. In the fall of 1957, Paige West, a native of Snow Hill, Maryland, bought a yearling named Adios Butler from the Harrisburg sale. Although they spent their winters together on Delmarva, the rest of the year they traveled the country making history.
Well, he had the world record for the mile on half-mile track, mile track, a mile and 16th, and a mile and 8. He had the world record for it. And several track records. He had, I don't know, I'd say, guessing, probably 15 track records.
By the way, his half-mile world record as a 5-year-old stood for 17 years, and in 1959, he became the first horse ever to win the Triple Crown. The Butler, as he was commonly known, won 37 of his 50 lifetime starts and earned over $500,000. He probably would have won more races and won more money, but as Paige explains, they had problems finding someone to race against.
For 8 weeks, we didn't get any racers. We couldn't get a race. He won several races in New York, and then they wouldn't let him race anymore. The racetracks at Roseville and Yonkers, he would have been a minus pool, you know, and they wouldn't let him. I wanted them to let him race, barring from the betting, but they wouldn't do that.
Since Adios Butler carried a mark of 1:54.3 and seemed to be unbeatable in any state, on any size track, at any distance, Paige went to extreme measures on one occasion to get his horse raced in Canada.
At that time, most of the horses were in the United States, so we had to get them up there. Well, they didn't want to go up there, pay the transportation to race for second money, what it added up to. So we flew them up on a plane, and I paid the other horses transportation to fill the race, so we could have a race.
Adios Butler, who was syndicated for a record $600,000, actually did quite a lot of flying.
Well, he flew quite a bit. Canada, Chicago, California. Like I said, he raced in California on a Saturday and back in New York on Friday. 6 days. And it was 100 degrees in California and 30 degrees in New York when he raced the next week. So it didn't bother him.
And like any jet-setting superstar, Paige had to protect Adios Butler from his mobs of fans.
When they have jug day, they'll have 50,000 people. I mean, they're lined up all the way around the racetrack and 4 or 5 deep. And there's creations of people there. So they would come to the barn, not like the parimutuel track where people can't get in. They can walk in there anywhere. So it got to be so bad that I took another horse and put in his stall and put him down in the barn so that people wouldn't bother. And people were looking at another horse, but they were looking at Butler, but they weren't.
Adios Butler raced from 1958 to 1961, and he was special. No one could argue that. But what made him so special?
In 45 years, I trained horses, but he was by far the most intelligent. He knew when he was training, he knew when he was racing. He wasn't really interested in training too much, you know. But when the gate was there, he knew what he was doing.
Never will Adios Butler's record-breaking day be forgotten at the Little Brown Jug.
I just love going back in time with those great horses. I wish we could literally go back in time, because then I would have you for another half an hour. But I gotta go for now. I will be back though next week, I promise. In the meantime, come out to Harrington Raceway. We've got exciting live action happening 5 nights a week. That's Sunday through Thursday. First race post times at 5:30 p.m. Have a wonderful week. I hope to see you at the track, and God bless.